Northern California.
What's up, YouTube? It's Artisan MC, and it is time to review Joker. Before I do that, though, there's one thing I want to do. I want to first apologize to Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix and Warner Brothers in DC for thinking this movie was going to be shit when I first saw the announcement and the pictures of Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. I was wrong. This shit was awesome. I apologize. With that shit out the way, let me get on with saying that I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I listened to a lot of reviews of other people, and yes, there are some negative points I could pull out of this movie, but for the most part, they are outweighed by the stuff that actually worked in this movie. I mean, I've never had a movie completely turn me around on my initial feeling of it, because I'm not usually off on that. But this one actually did it. And I'm happy with the movie that I saw. It's not too much I could complain about. If I was going to be really nitpicky, I could go in and start pulling things just to find something negative or that I didn't like, but that would be nitpicky. That wouldn't be a general feeling of, no, I was not satisfied with this didn't look right or anything like that. It would be just looking for something, just trying to pull it apart to see what I could find. And no movie is perfect. I said that before, but sometimes, which is the nature of being critical, some things are just blaring. Like Dark Phoenix, the shit in there was just blaring. You couldn't deny that shit if you were blind. You know, if you heard it, you'd be complaining. This was not this. So, for this movie, let's just say Joaquin Phoenix, great Joker. Great lead-in to a Joker. Great, if you want to say, an origin for Joker. This movie was not an incel, we need security movie. I don't know who said that shit first. They need to get slapped in the face for that, because that was not what this movie was. Talking about this movie today with customers and whatnot who had just seen the movie, none of that vibe. None of that vibe coming out the movie. They didn't even see where that even applied in this movie. And that's why I wonder who was it that said that. I have my suspicions about who it was, or what critic, or what newspaper reporter, whatever the heck it was. But I have my suspicions. But be that as it may, no, it wasn't that movie. No need for security at this movie. None. That was pointless. Unless you're trying to scare people away from really seeing this movie. Because some people are programmed like that. I'm not, thankfully. And I saw this early, and I enjoyed the fuck out of it. So, just to get on, I'll try to do the sandwich method as best as possible and try to keep it short so I can edit this and get it up so you guys can actually see it sometime in this millennium. But Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker, awesome. He gave me a good portrayal of the Joker as a regular person and becoming this. And this is what turned me around on this movie from the beginning. The trailers started to show me that they were going with a more psychological angle for the Joker. And that works for me because I get into that kind of thing. And seeing how a person could break and turn into that really got my attention. And seeing it in the movie, totally got it. Totally got it. Was not a surprise. I could see and empathize with this character, why he became the way he is at the end of the movie, and get how that progression happened. It wasn't just something as simple as, you know, he was a gangster, or he fell into some chemicals, or, you know, some other thing. There has to be a logical reason why a person would make this transition, because the Joker is a stark character. You have to understand, Joker is the polar opposite of Batman. That's why they're together, right? So to have somebody that crazy. They have to get there some kind of way. They don't just exist because they grew up out of the damn ground that way. They have to exist somehow. It happened some kind of way. And this movie tells you how it could happen. No, this is not a definitive Joker origin. That's fine. You have the comic book version with no definitive origin. Aside from the Alan Moore thing, Killing Joke is its own separate thing, just like this movie is its own separate thing. There is no definitive origin for the Joker. It's fine. This is a version of how it could have happened. And I'm fine with that. And being fine with that, I will say right off the bat right now, as much as it hurts, I don't want to see a sequel to this movie. I don't want to see a sequel to this movie because I want this movie to stand on its own and be what it is and never be duplicated or try to be replicated because it will suck. As much as there are lead-ins in this movie for anything else to happen, I don't want to see it. I'm not interested in seeing it. Just let it stand as it is and it will be a masterpiece from that point on. Okay, so you have Robert De Niro in this playing Maury Franklin. Love Robert De Niro. I've seen a lot of his movies, and some of the movies that they keep making comparisons to, be it Taxi Driver and the Kings of Comedy King of Comedy with him in it. Yes, I can see those parallels. Do I think it holds to this movie? No, I do not. Somebody great once said that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Okay? There is some imitation. Somebody also said that every story that's ever been made has been told already. Okay? So get off of it. This must be the same person that threw that incel crap out there as saying this, because these are the only two things I hear about this movie when somebody jumps up with something to say. The only two sound bites I've freaking heard. Get some original material. Because something is similar does not make it the same thing. And by saying that, this is how you write off movies like The Joker or movies like Brightburn. By saying it's something else and getting the larger movie-going public from going to see the damn movie and deciding for themselves what it is. Stop trying to fit something into a box. Let it be what it is. This movie, for the most part, stands on its own. The character that Robert De Niro plays is interesting in a Johnny Carson kind of vibe, and I get it. He didn't phone in his performance. He was there. He acted. I actually felt something for this character, especially when it got to the end. I thought he was really going after dude. It felt legitimate. It felt like a real person that was sitting there, not just a show host, a real person, not somebody being in a little bit part. He was actually a character trying to drive that story forward. Love that. What's her name? Frances Conroy, his mother, and Penny Fleck. Great performance, because she could have easily turned into Norman Bates' mother sitting in a wheelchair in the shadow of a window. But she wasn't. She was an interesting character. You actually felt something for this character. And when the movie turned and you found out more about this character, then you were like, okay, I see now. This woman is crazy. And that was one of the most interesting things about this character. And I don't think many people actually caught it. But I'll say it just for me, is that, and I'm going out of order, so don't worry about it, okay? Because I want you to go see the movie. If I'm going out of order and it doesn't make sense to you, good. Go see the freaking movie. Save yourself some time. The interesting part is when they show videos of Penny Fleck in the insane asylum, in the institution, when she was young, she looked like Harley Quinn. And that was the interesting thing to me that I picked up on, is that because she looks like Harley Quinn, if this story was to go forward, it makes perfect sense that the Joker would pick a sidekick or a woman to be his sidekick that looked like his mother. That would be the reason why he gravitated to her so much. That a Harley Quinn showing up in that Arkham Asylum setting looking like the young version of his mother would totally get him enamored by her or be enamored with her. Could totally see that. Completely works for me. The fact that the stuff Penny Fleck actually did and let her son go through, that's ripped right out of not even today's newspaper. That goes on today all the time. You can watch any old network, weed network, television show and see that same kind of stuff happening where the brutal man is with the new woman and abusing her child. That happens. That's a given. And that's a failure. And I think this is where some people and all this resentment comes out for this movie, because I will say this, it doesn't show women in a positive light. It doesn't show women in a positive light. It doesn't show black people in a positive light. Okay, and I'll just say this right off the bat. Yes, some of the main people that give Arthur Fleck shit in this movie are black people. Okay? And are black women specifically. That are rude to him for no reason, pay him no mind. They're there. I saw that sprinkled in there. And I don't know whose vision that is, if it's his directors or whatever, but they're in there. That's just what it is. You know, the lady on the bus that doesn't want him, you know, talking to her kid. He's playing with a kid on the damn bus, whatever. She's rude to him, gets his card, still doesn't give a shit, thinks he's rude, whatever. Black woman. His therapist, who seems like she does not listen, does not actually care about him, is another black woman. Okay? The guy who gives him the paperwork from Arkham Asylum for his mother, or that he takes it from, is a black man. He's at least being genuine to him. His object of his affection that he actually wanted was a black woman. But this is the turn in the movie. Actually doesn't think anything of him. Thinks he's just that weird guy from down the hall. So you have black people sprinkled around in this thing, but they're not necessarily in positive roles. A lot of these people are freaking women, and a lot of these women do give him shit. Now, if that's the call for someone to say this is an incel, the guy's not an incel. Okay? He actually likes women, obviously. He actually wants a woman. But he's spending so much of his time taking care of his mother, he doesn't get a woman. He doesn't have time for that. So, for me, it wasn't a choice for him in that sense. I felt something for the mother. I thought she was like legitimately a good person in his life. And then you see that turn. And you see the rest of the stuff that actually happened and find out that this woman is actually crazy. And then it makes complete sense. Almost complete sense. That this man's whole world that he has been taught for 30-something years was a freaking lie. A freaking lie. Told him by some crazy woman. That would send somebody over the edge. I'm sure there's men out there right now who can attest to the fact, and everything they went through their whole life was a lie. That's not a surprise. That is something that actually happens. It's not fictional. It's a fact. Okay? So, you go past that. Zazie Beetz, I don't know much about her. My daughter knows a lot about her. I don't know a lot about her. I hear the name. It sounds like a cool name. It sounds like somebody who makes headphones. Whatever. I liked her character in this. I would have liked the character if it actually did give Arthur Fleck some kind of human interaction or somebody who actually gave a shit about him. But getting to the point in the movie where you figure out that it's a delusion of his, oh shit, that just made the rest of the story even better. Because that was a turn I didn't see coming. I did not. Because truthfully, although they said that he was on all these medications, they never said what the medications were, and you never see him taking the medication. For all I know, he's giving a medication to his mother, which I thought when he first got home. But they never diagnosed him with having any legitimate problem. He's just getting medication. For anxiety or something like that? What the fuck? 7 medications for anxiety? Damn, they just threw the fucking pharmacy at him. So, for that, and while she was there, it was interesting. But that means that that whole fingers to the head, blowing your brains out thing really happened. And this is a black woman who doesn't really like her kid. Her kid is annoying to her. She wants to kill herself because she has to listen to questions from her child. It's the worst thing in the world to have a child that's inquisitive. Oh my God. So, moving on from that whole freaking thing, you get to Brett Cullum. And I liked this version of Thomas Wayne. He's not the patriarch or the nice guy who's trying to save everybody. He is actually like legit kind of an ass. But an ass in a way that you kind of understand it. No, he looks down on the rest of the people who are poor and didn't make the best out of their choices in life or whatever the fuck. He's disconnected. Well, he's a ridiculously rich dude. Yes, he's fucking connected. Okay, that's not a surprise to me. But the part at where he actually talks to Arthur Fleck, and they're in the restroom and having a conversation, he's genuinely trying to be nice to the guy, even though he's upset that the guy showed up at his house and was messing with his son. He's genuinely trying to be nice to the guy. He hears him out, but he's getting pissed because the kid won't accept reality. Now, it could be said that Thomas Wayne could have been lying, or he could have been telling all the truth. But the agitation that Arthur Fleck was having was making him more agitated as well. Okay? So, he could be an asshole. He could just be a guy irritated as shit. Who's to say? But I like the way that it went in this movie. That you don't get him as this, real savior to Gotham City. He's doing it because he feels he has the right to, and everybody else is too stupid to do it. So, and back to Joaquin Phoenix. He transformed for this role. He looked shockingly skinny. Okay? And to me, that furthered the transformation of him looking like the Joker from the comics. Tall, gangly, thin, and kind of off. Understanding that this guy had been basically abused and lied to his whole life. That when you get up to the point where he actually kills somebody, I'm not surprised. And I didn't feel bad for those people. Because in a sense, they had it coming. The little asshole kids in the beginning who beat him up and took his sign, it's a grown man getting beat up by a bunch of kids. That, in and of itself, for anybody else, would make them upset enough to hurt somebody. At least 3 guys on the train that assaulted him because he was laughing. That was assault in self-defense. After they started beating the hell out of him, they took it upon themselves, whatever was coming after that. So I wouldn't blame the Arthur Fleck character for that and say, it's a terrible thing that he did. Yes, the loss of life is terrible, but look, that was self-defense. It was 3 dudes on one, and he was on the ground. Anyway, getting up to the point where, his mother is in the hospital and he gives her the little silent pillow death. I'll call that a crime of passion. Or, after that long, 30-something years of being lied to like that, what would your reaction be? Because mind you, he was abused while he was with her by boyfriends, one of which chained him up to a radiator. Look, if you want the recipe for making somebody a killer, this would be it. Society and this kind of stuff would be the recipe. And that's how it would turn out. So no one should be surprised that all these people are afraid that it's going to spark off somebody else. It's not going to spark off anybody else. It's already happening. It's already been happening. That's why they're popping off now. One after another every fucking week. It's already happened. You've already done it. heard BGS mention something today about the parable of the sower. The thing that goes along with that is reap the whirlwind. So, for me on this one, I think the most shocking thing is that I don't think the Joker was actually crazy. I think the craziest thing that this guy did was that he started being himself. And this was one of the most interesting parts of this. I really thought it was genius that they worked in his laugh and that it was a nervous thing that he did when he was uncomfortable or stressed. He laughed. That was interesting. That made the Joker laugh, something iconic and something that you could see in a completely different way. That he's not laughing from glee of doing things that he's doing. He's laughing because he's fucking stressed. That was superb, right? But here's the thing. Further the movie goes along, and the more he starts acting like the Joker, the less he started laughing. The less he laughed. And that was an interesting twist for that character. Because now he was not stressed. Because he was not repressing himself anymore. He was being truly who the hell he was. And that's what made him stop stressfully laughing. His scene at the end of the movie, where he's sitting on the show, on Maury's show, and talking, that was reminiscent of, I believe the show was Network to me, and it was Alfred Finney delivering this masterful freaking monologue. And all he's doing is sitting on the news and telling the freaking truth. That's all he's doing. And people eat it up. That's what this scene was to me. This scene in the Joker on the show was exactly that same scene. He's sitting there letting it all hang out. He's being absolutely truthful and absolutely serious. And people are reacting to it. Because you notice in that scene, he's not freaking laughing. He didn't laugh once. He's not stressed. He's not nervous. He is completely cool and calm, saying what the hell is on his mind clearly. And that is what's scary to people. That is what's unsettling to people. The truth like that is unsettling because it tears down the wall of lies people put up all the time about what's real and what isn't. And he was just letting it out. He found his voice finally, which most people have a hard time doing in real life. He found it. Yeah, it was shocking, but he found it. So, for me, I would make the question, was the Joker actually crazy? I mean, truth be said, or truth be told, yeah, the act of killing people could be kind of crazy, but given the situations that he was in, could anybody else see it not happening that way? I mean, hell, if this was a John Wick movie, you'd be clapping. And the Andu shit would just come after him. So, for me, it was an awesome movie. I'm glad I was wrong on it. I'm glad that the director, Todd Phillips, did this. And I don't want to see a sequel. Actually, after saying this on here, I definitely don't want a sequel. I want this to stand alone, period. So it can be judged just on this work. Comparisons to Heath Ledger or Jack Nicholson or Cesar Romero or Jared Leto, all those other actors are good actors. There is no comparison. This Joker stands on his own, just like Heath Ledger stood on his own, just like Jared Leto stood on his own, just like all the rest of them stood on its own. This performance stood on its own. And I applaud Joaquin Phoenix for doing what nobody else thought can be done, which was making another Joker that surpassed Heath Ledger's Spectre. Thank you. I appreciate that. This movie to me, from cinematography to scoring to the acting, was freaking superb. I can't. I mean, there are enough mental images I pulled from this movie that I can just think of right now. Eyes are just beautiful. Just beautiful freaking scenes. And it's not because it's a lot of stuff going on in it, it's just how it's framed. The colors in the background, the mood of it, the tone of it. It was like not what I was expecting at all, and I appreciated it wholeheartedly. So for this, no, it wasn't just a straight run through of the movie. No, I didn't do that this time. Didn't need to. Go see the movie. That's about it. If you think I missed something, good. Go see the movie. It will actually be good food for thought and good conversation to come out of it. Because aside from how the rich treat the poor, how the rich see the poor, mental illness, how you deal with people with mental illness, how people get shit on in their everyday life on a constant basis and wonder how they don't pop off and go crazy, this is a good touchstone for having all those conversations wrapped up into one movie. It's a good touchstone because I didn't know how they were going to do this movie. And how they did it, I'm still sitting back like, damn. I'm not going to say it's genius, but it was very clever how they put all that together. Especially the origin of Batman. That was something I didn't even think I was going to see in this movie at all. The death of Bruce Wayne's parents in this movie too, with Bruce Wayne there. You got the origin of Batman in this movie, along with the origin of the Joker in this movie. And you see that Thomas Wayne, dick as he may have been, was killed from the onset of this Joker riot, of the unrest that was going on, of the situation of this city. That was, who'd have thunk? Huh. Yes, I'd love to see a sequel of this, but I don't want to see a sequel of this. Yes, that's a thread that can go forward and get Batman and Joker, 20 years later. Yeah, I still don't want to see it. I can make it up in my head. Let somebody write some fanfic about it. Don't make a movie about it. I don't want to see that. But that's it for me. It's about 30 minutes gone, and I said it was only going to be 15, so I just made it hard on myself. But that's my initial thoughts on it. I'll probably have more later on some other platform, on some other conversation. But for now, Joker, I was wrong. It's an awesome movie. Go see it if you haven't seen it. Enjoy it. Take a friend. Get some popcorn. Don't get up. Watch the whole thing. Absorb it. And then think about it. Okay? So, that's it for me. Like, share, subscribe, comment. And I will see you guys next time. Peace.
You want to talk to me?
We can't wait, but it's all an illusion. Hey, hey, hey.